Bienvenidos a Detroit Strange.
This podcast.
Yeah, the one you're listening to.
I was trying to figure it out and I couldn't do it that fast.
I was surprised I remember Bienvenidos that quickly.
It was great. Right. It was beautiful. I loved it.
Yeah, welcome back to Detroit Strange. We're back. That's Jess over there.
And that's Alex over there.
Yes. What? What's I look for?
Oh, I was just looking. I was just looking.
Sorry. I tweeted at the governor today. I retweeted her, actually. I commented on her tweet.
Okay.
We got there eventually.
We did. What did you?
She tweeted something like, even though it's July 1st, like Pride Month is like, you've got an ally in the governor's office 365 days a year. I'm like, yes. I literally like just said, yes, queen. Thanks for supporting the LGBT community. And then also had a gif of Alyssa Edwards just going, yes, yes, yes.
Ah, that's fantastic.
Yeah. So that was my political activism for the day.
Good job. Well done.
Responding to the governor's tweet.
What did I do today? It is a good question. I've been cleaning all week. I cleaned a lot today.
That's generally what happens after 2 feet of waters in your basement.
Yeah. That was a lot of, after our recording last week, actually.
Really?
Yep. It was very strange.
It was really rainy.
It was very rainy.
Wet, even.
Yep. And the weird thing is, I didn't take the freeway home, and it started raining like bad when I was on my drive home. And I'm so excited I didn't take the freeway home.
Yeah, I like thought about it after last. I hope she's okay, because it was like started raining.
Mm-hmm. I've never driven in rain like that. I can say that for sure. If I wasn't so close to home, I don't know what I would have done.
Yeah, you probably just had to pull off to the side of the road, just wait it out.
Yeah.
Which is not ideal.
No, I mean, and all those people got stuck.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, if you experienced anything in the flood.
Great flood.
Yes. We're with you, and we're sorry that you're experiencing that. It's not great. And,
no, it sucks.
If there's anybody out there you can help with it, please do.
Yeah. As we say in the show, help a hoe out.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, I've just been, trying to read more.
How's that been going?
I've actually read for the past, I think 4 or 5 days in a row.
Ooh.
Which for me is pretty good, because I usually go through like a 1-day thing and then like
that's it. Yeah.
Many days without. And it's been kind of nice. I've just been going and sitting out on the front porch, enjoying.
Oh, yeah.
Like later in the daytime, kind of.
Oh, yeah.
Not quite night, not day anymore.
That's when I do my best reading too, is like in the hammock at that time of day.
Yeah. And it's been wonderful. So this is the summer of books.
Yes, I know. I actually started I took a pause from the last, I was reading the second book in the Crazy Rich Asian series.
Mm-hmm.
And I was getting towards the end, and I'm like, I know this last chunk is going to fly and I want to savor it. So I'm going to take a break. And then today I started back up again, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is good.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that you're doing that.
I also got the first 2 Witcher books.
Mine are mostly self-help books.
Nice.
Because that's what I like to read about, apparently. There's a few essay-based books, though, too, of other people's experiences and things like that.
Those are always fun. Yeah. I do like a good collection of essays.
As I've mentioned, I do tend to slide into the nonfiction more. So
fair.
Oh, actually, though, I do have a book for one of our future episodes, too, that I just got in the mail the other day. So it's on my roster.
Good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I do have some corrections from last week.
Okay.
So there's 3 of them. One of them, Man vs. Food did not choose a Coney dog.
Okay.
I think I said that they did. American Coney Canon has closed.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yelp read closed.
Yeah.
And the last review is from 6 years ago. So it might have been a while ago. And George Karos, the previous owner of Lafayette, he actually passed away in 2019, not 2020.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't like to leave
for sure
stuff floating out there if I've heard or know or found out. So
yeah.
Corrections.
Thanks for your corrections. I remember what I was going to talk about.
Okay.
I married people last weekend.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Yeah. Like performed my first marriage ceremony. So that's exciting. And thank God the rain held off because it was on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just like, please just hold off because they'd already had to replan their wedding 3 times. I'm like, oh my God, just not right. And it didn't. It didn't rain. It was lovely, humid, but lovely. And we got it done.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad that it held off and that they had a nice, beautiful day.
Yeah. She looked great in her dress.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, is this a new side gig for you now?
I wouldn't mind. I think it would only be for people I know.
Okay.
No, because like I'd feel phony writing a like ceremony for someone I didn't know and just being like generic stuff.
Yeah, that's fair.
Love is patient, love is kind. You know, that really unique reading they never do in weddings.
Yeah.
Like I feel like every wedding I've been to uses that one. Love is patient, love is kind.
I mean, I've been to a lot that use it. I'm not going to say every though, because I've also been to some where, somebody like personally wrote.
Yeah. I think it's more fun that way.
Oh, yeah.
If I ever got married, that's what I want to do.
Yeah, probably same.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not going to have a priest marry me. Not that I think anyone would, but like.
Oh, no. I would go so simple on the whole ceremony.
Oh,
yeah. I don't think I, would, unless it was really important to the other person.
Right.
I'm not looking to do like a huge thing. I just want it to be
20 minute tops.
Yeah. Nice, pretty.
Yeah.
And, for
short,
us.
Sweet, and to the point.
Yes, exactly. I would like a destination. That would be fun.
Oh, yeah.
Because I like a vacation.
Oh, for sure. I think destination weddings can be fun, especially, and that way too, you can keep it smaller and just invite the people you actually want.
Mm-hmm. And then if people come, they come, and if they don't, they don't, and that's fine. That's a choice, and whatever.
Yeah.
No big deal. And then have like a picnic or something at home.
Right.
And I have been to stuff like that, and I do enjoy that too, where it's just kind of like more of a laid back, like, hey, not that I have something against large, you do you kind of thing.
Yeah, it's all what you want.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, I'm so glad you did that, though.
Me too.
Yay.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Grace and
Ryan.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes. Very excited for them.
Yeah.
Glad this finally happened. I know they're both probably relieved it's over.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
So we're actually sipping on something together today.
We are. I made drinks.
You did. I have this lovely straw and this stemless wine glass. Thank you. I'm making noises. Oops.
That's okay. I didn't try it. How is it?
It's good.
It's good?
Yeah.
Good. I made a lemonade and blueberry vodka for myself.
Okay.
And then Jess is drinking an iced tea with peach and orange blossom vodka and a splash of lemonade.
It just tastes like iced tea pretty much.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Like I would not have known that this was an adult beverage of any kind.
Love that. Is like the tea taste is so strong, or?
Yes, the tea is really strong. It definitely like has like a little fruity, but it's not as strong. So like I wouldn't even be like, oh, this is like peach tea, or I wouldn't be able to.
The fact that it's like a blossom too, that's usually not like a strong flavor.
Oh no. Yeah. Yeah. But it's lovely. It's very refreshing. So thank you.
Very appropriate summer drinks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we're in summer now. It's July.
We sure fucking are.
I hope everybody had a good July 4th.
Yeah. Hasn't happened yet for us, but we'll get there.
I was just about to say, I know I did, but no, I have no idea.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll report back in the next episode. Are you ready for a story?
I am pumped for a story.
Yes. So this is actually, I got this one out of one of the YouTube rabbit holes I've fallen.
Yes. Love that.
So the inspiration for this story actually comes from a YouTube video by a channel called Bright Sun Films.
Okay.
They have a series called Abandoned, and it's, as you can guess, about abandoned buildings or abandoned ideas, abandoned projects, et cetera, et cetera.
That tracks. Good name choice.
Yeah. But have you heard of the Southwest Detroit Hospital?
Yes.
You're pretty close to it, right?
Yes.
Is it, like, do you drive past it often? Like,
I've walked past it a little bit. I've definitely driven past it sometimes, but not known what it was until I walked past it. And then I was like, oh, wait, because I remember none of this because it was a long time ago. I did start to research this building and then got sidetracked like in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like this is like almost 2 years ago, I was probably looking into it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I watched a couple things on it, but the information, this is still going to be new to me because
Yeah.
I've basically forgotten most of it.
Oh, for sure.
So I'm excited to hear a deeper dive than I ever, because I didn't go that far. So I'm super excited you did this. And yeah, they're doing something with it, I believe, right now.
I'll get to that at the end.
Oh, that makes sense.
But for those of you who don't know, it's a hospital located in the Mexican town neighborhood of Detroit. It was the first Detroit hospital to hire and accredit Black doctors and nurses, which was an uncommon occurrence at the time. And it was one of the last segregated hospitals built in the U.S.
Mm-hmm. Just
yeah, bonkers.
Wild.
So just some background. So before and during the civil rights movement, hospitals were still largely segregated. Black doctors only getting jobs at Black hospitals. And it was uncommon for these hospitals to be working with larger hospitals and weren't able to offer the level of care as the white hospitals were. And this led to poorer health amongst the Black population and people of color population as well, just kind of not white.
Yeah.
So in the late 60s, there were a few smaller Black-only hospitals in the city. I have 4 of them: Boulevard General, Delray General, Burton Mercy, and Trumbull General.
Mm-hmm.
Trumbull General being the newest of the 4. Not that important, though.
Okay.
But so the 4 of them merged to form one larger hospital to increase the level of care they could provide.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how the Southwest Detroit Hospital came to be.
Mm-hmm.
They came up with an idea for a 246-bed hospital that would cost around $21 million, which adjusted for inflation would be about $154 million today.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy because that's not, that's a lot of beds, but that's not that many beds for a hospital either. That's relatively small as far as
especially today's standards too. Just they make massive just medical complexes, campuses even.
Yeah. Oh yeah. When I lived in LA, the one I went to was like a city.
Yeah.
I went to everything all in the same area, but it was nice because it was also on the rail line. So
nice.
I liked it.
Yeah. Oh, I love when I can take public transit somewhere.
Oh, it was beautiful. It was glorious.
Yeah. So the structure is a glass and sheet metal design, kind of just very typical of the 70s kind of modern design then.
All right. Mm-hmm.
Construction would finish in 1974 and the hospital would open that same year. Things went swimmingly for the first few years. Not great, but fine.
Okay.
By the time the hospital was open, segregated / Black only hospitals were kind of on their way out. So the budget was slashed, which was obviously not a great thing for a small hospital that now couldn't afford or couldn't offer as much because their budget was cut.
Yeah.
So just already off the bat, strike against.
Well, at a deficit,
right. Just not great. The late 70s brought controversy and lawsuits, unfortunately. In 1977, a doctor by the name of Leonardo Lopez was charged with selling illegal amphetamines.
Oh, great.
Yeah, not ideal. He was suspended from practicing medicine for 6 months, and he was actually allowed back to the hospital under the condition he could only prescribe there, which I'm guessing that means that he could not give people medicine out of the hospital or write them prescriptions for elsewhere, kind of just the meds would be prescribed and administered in the hospital. That's my guess.
Yeah. Still, though, that's...
yeah, I feel
not great.
No, not ideal.
No.
And this was just kind of the most notorious of the 86 doctors who faced charges for a variety of unethical medical decisions at this hospital.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. But they managed to hold on until the late 80s, early 90s. And kind of the nail in the coffin would be in 1987, a woman by the name of Elise Thornton stayed in the hospital for 21 days following a stroke.
Okay.
So she was discharged, even though she thought she was in an unstable condition to be discharged.
Mm-hmm.
So she ended up suing the hospital, and the case was heard by the 6th District Court in 1990. Mm-hmm. Both the 6th District Court and the Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that Thornton was stable enough to be discharged from the hospital. While this seems like a win, the case damaged the already damaged reputation of the hospital.
Ugh.
So kind of wasn't great. The hospital would only make it one more year after this and would declare bankruptcy in 1991. And they
Okay.
managed to keep some operations going until 1993, until eventually just everything in the building stopped.
So it made it less than 2 decades.
Yeah,
That's so.
right.
Uh,
But in 1996, it kind of got a new life.
okay.
Sorry, I needed a sip. In 1986, Harley K. Brown, a Detroit businessman and developer, had his company Ultimed purchase the building for just $1.5 million.
Okay.
After, like I said, the building cost $21 million to
Yeah.
make.
Yep. So he got it for a
154
deal.
adjusted for inflation. Yeah, got a deal. He then reopened the hospital under the name United Community Hospital in 1997.
Uh-huh.
In 1999, $6 million was invested to renovate and update the first 2 floors of the hospital.
Okay.
Despite all of this, the hospital didn't exactly soar.
Okay.
There was a lot of corruption amongst the directors. Yeah, they were not handling the money well, or ethically for that matter. It was using funds from small businesses that Ultimed was insuring, along with the $15 million in taxpayer dollars from Wayne County for things like lavish non-business related trips to Vegas, the Virgin Islands, Japan, and China. And of course, when you're out on the town, you got to have fancy meals. They went out for a bunch of expensive
Naturally.
dinners.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the weirdest one that I found was Brown was accused of using funds to further his boxing career.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he himself wasn't the boxer, but he wanted to become a fight promoter and a manager of Tommy the Hitman Hearns, who was, I guess, trying to make a comeback at the time.
I feel like this is like a weird rich dude trope of like, guy becomes really rich, but like he never became a fighter, but he wants to be involved in like
Right.
boxing or ultimate fighting or like whatever, just to be like
Right.
big bad
Yeah, just kind of
dude,
like
whatever. And I don't get it.
Yeah, me neither. Couldn't possibly.
Yeah. Oh, don't fight.
Right. I'm a lover, not a fighter. You know what I mean? But yeah, so like Ultimed was, like I said, they were in like small businesses in Wayne County were coming to them and being like, they like made an HMO and were like,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
you know, we'll cover this, this, and this at our hospital if you pay us this much money, kind of thing.
Mhm.
They weren't paying out the claims though.
Oh, great.
So on top of spending all this money on themselves, they led to they weren't paying out the claims, and it led to over 1,500 complaints to the county of
Oh my
claims not being
gosh.
paid. Yeah.
That is
Right. So just like not good shit. But in 2005, a financial group called Kennedy Funding invested $2.5 million after describing the building as, quote, dilapidated and nearly unoccupied, in dire need of immediate renovation and upgrade. Even with the grants from the government, the hospital was still making bad money moves. So like, they got the money to do stuff and just kind of wasn't.
well, they were still being shady. It sounds
Right.
like just,
Right.
you know,
So-
that's not something you come back from.
Right. And just like the reputation too at that point of like, oh yeah, my claims aren't getting paid out. Like,
Yeah.
I'd be pissed.
Yeah.
In January of 2006, there were nearly $2.5 million of unpaid claims.
Oh my gosh. No.
Yeah. So the Michigan Office of Financial and Insurance Regulation placed Ultimed into rehabilitation, and the courts appointed a rehabilitator to kind of help
Okay.
get them back on track.
Yeah.
But not sure how good it did them, because in 2007, the building was completely abandoned and all maintenance to the building stopped.
Wow.
Water got in through the loading dock and just a whole bunch of mold started growing.
Naturally.
Vandals got in and completely just destroyed the place. Like there was graffiti on every surface you could put graffiti on.
Mm-hmm.
The wiring was stolen, every window broken.
Mm-hmm. All the valuable stuff gone.
Right.
Isn't there though like files and stuff everywhere or something?
Yeah, that's like they abandoned the building and they just left all the medical records.
That's so bad.
I like literally wrote HIPAA be damned. Like,
Yeah.
just like, because like in the video, which I'll post a link to on the Facebook, because he has he actually goes inside the building and has footage of
Mhm.
what it looked like inside. And you can just see there's offices of just shit ton of medical records just in cabinets around the room.
Which is just, it's just hard to believe that there was nothing in place to go in there and clean those out, at least like when the
Yeah.
building was abandoned. Like,
Right. You think the county would want to, especially because like they're
Yeah.
the ones using the building, kind of, like
Yeah.
if they were being insured by them, their employees,
yeah. No, that's so weird.
Yeah. And so the outside got so bad that city officials had to step up and get the building owner to clean it up, which was still like Harley Brown. He still owned the building after all this somehow.
Okay.
And so he got like,
Well, he didn't sell it.
yeah, that's true. I don't know if he had like the sheet metal cleaned or replaced, but that's basically what happened. I don't think there's windows in it still,
Okay.
which
Yeah.
makes sense because why put windows in if they're just going to get broken kind of thing.
Yeah.
Not great for the building, but there was also a rumor going around that an urban explorer, that's what they called him in the article, urban explorer,
hmm
discovered a dead body in the elevator shaft that was completely encased in ice.
Oh, God.
So the story was correct, but wrong location. So it wasn't in the Southwest Detroit Hospital. It was actually in a warehouse not too far from the hospital.
Okay.
So
That's
not this
sad.
building, but there's a nugget of truth in there. So,
Yeah. Well, the sad thing is that it's kind of plausible that could have happened there because
for sure.
it's just been sitting there, and obviously a lot of people have gotten in and messed with it. And yeah.
So in 2017, the inside of the building had deteriorated so much that they just went in and tore everything out till it was like down to like, I'm going to say down to the studs, but there were no studs because it was just steel and concrete because it's a commercial building.
Yeah. Okay.
So they basically just tore everything out. So they cleaned it all out. And the bright side to that is if someone does want a redevelopment, the hazardous material removal has already been done.
That's huge.
Yeah. Because that's like a big cost
Yeah.
with redevelopment.
Yeah.
Which, getting to that, the current fate, as we were talking about it,
hmm
nobody's quite sure what's happening with it. So I found one article from Cranes Detroit, but it was behind a paywall, so I didn't get much more than the title, but it was basically just like Southwest Detroit Hospital on the fast track for demolition.
Okay.
But then there was another article from like within a month of this one from the Free Press
hmm
that says that there's a sign on the building advertising redevelopment, but it kind of just sounds like that's more like wishful thinking than a kind of solid plan.
I want to say, I might be wrong, but I want to say I saw like one of those like handmade billboards or something
Okay.
near it, but I could be. I did not
Yeah.
prepare for this.
Right.
So I don't
right,
know what my memory is, but I want to say something like that. But again, like you said, it could be like
Right.
wishful thinking.
And like he kind of talked about in the video of like redevelopment is definitely an option.
hmm
Like you could turn it into like commercial space or
Oh,
like
yeah,
business
easily.
space. But the building layout is kind of weird because like between I think it's between the second and third floors, there's like a mezzanine level that's used for like utilities and stuff.
Okay.
So just kind of a little wonky in that aspect because like
Mhm.
it was originally set up to be a hospital. It's just hospital architecture is just inherently different than other architectures a lot of the time.
Yeah. Although, I mean, like in Traverse City, they turned the old asylum, which, a
Yeah.
form of hospital, into there's like artist space in there and coffee shops and maybe some restaurants or something like that.
Love that.
It's a whole campus. So the whole thing
Yeah.
hasn't been renovated, but I know like at least one or two of the main buildings have been turned into like useful spaces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
hmm
Hopefully something like that could happen because like I don't know, the design of the building is cool. I like that they have round windows on the side for the stairwell.
Very 70s.
Oh yeah.
Delightfully.
And just like their logo was cool. They had a very 70s logo.
Mhm.
But that's kind of the end of what I could find on the Southwest Detroit Hospital. Just my sources before I
Oh,
forget.
yeah.
Wikipedia, as I mentioned, it's episode 38 of Abandoned, which I said was a YouTube series by Bright Sun Films, Detroit Urbex, and Metro Times.
Now, one
And
question.
Cranes Detroit, but paywall.
Yeah.
So fuck them.
Yeah.
It's weird because they'll send me a hard copy of their news. I get the Cranes in my mailbox.
Oh, interesting. I
But
know.
I don't pay for it.
I used Cranes for my story last week, but
It's
also
just certain stuff.
I was going to say I read that like so long ago. I know I didn't pay for it, but
Yeah.
So thank you, Cranes, even though Alex isn't.
Yeah, apparently. You'll give it to me in physical copy, but you won't fucking let me read the article online.
But I do have a question because I've seen this come up on
Yeah.
a number of lists. is it haunted? Because I have seen it come up on lists, but of course, that's where I like tried to slide into more, and I couldn't find anything other than it's like old. So like maybe, but it's not even that old.
Right. 74 isn't that old. And like,
not even 50 years old yet.
No. Getting close though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't really see anything about it being haunted. I didn't look too hard. The spookiest thing I could find is the dead body rumor.
Yeah.
And also just like, I don't know, it was a hospital, and like I said, it wasn't only open for like a couple of decades.
Yeah.
So I could kind of see it going either way, because I could kind of just see it being like, it was just a medical building. You know, nothing super tragic happened there.
Yeah, I've always...
Even the people who died there probably were just like, whatever.
I don't want to stay here.
Right.
That's kind of what I figured when I didn't see much come up, other than I've seen it on lists as like,
yeah.
Ooh, isn't this... But I think it is because there has been a lot of urban exploring there. So like, I think because of that for some people, like automatically adds a level of like, well,
yeah, maybe
it's haunted then, because it's got that like aesthetic.
Right. And like, it was like an important hospital. I think it was like just a little bit too late in the game.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Yeah.
Like, it sounds like they were kind of planning on segregation lasting a little longer than it didn't, which thankfully it didn't.
Yeah.
And what's even more sad is like built in 74, and it was it was like, I'm pretty sure it was I read it was the first Detroit hospital to hire and accredit Black doctors and nurses.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So hopefully they redevelop it into something with a greater future.
Yeah. Or maybe like the aliens will take it over. I hear there's supposed to be a lot of alien activity going on now.
They don't call them UFOs anymore. What do they call it? Like
UFAs? Is
I
that
think
it?
so.
UFA?
I think that's right.
Mm-hmm. Which I forget what that actually...
Yeah. It's like unidentified flying, like an anomaly. I think anomaly. Ass too.
Anomaly makes sense. Well, yeah, because they don't want to necessarily say what it is or isn't. And
right.
I can respect that. I understand using that.
Do you think aliens exist? How are you? What's your stance on aliens?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
100%. And it's like the most terrifying, freaky thing to me ever. I mean, I've mentioned to you when I was a kid, and I loved looking at the stars, but I would never, ever want to be outside by myself and make my parents carry me in when I was tiny because I was terrified the aliens would come. Definitely had a lot of terror over that then. I don't know that I'm necessarily scared of it now, but there is like a large unknown quality, but also the fact that like we're on this tiny speck of dust amongst all these other tiny specks of dust, like millions and millions and billions of them. And that's only like one freaking galaxy with it. You know what I mean? Like it keeps...
Space is fucking... I think one of the reasons I didn't fuck with it so long is just because like it's just hard to wrap your head around, and like what?
It's terrifying.
It is. Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily know what like... I have no strong feelings either way about aliens, but like I remember Trixie and Katya on their web series talked about they did an episode about space, and Katya said something like they're either not out there or they like found us and they're like they're not even worth it.
I mean, I can definitely believe that. I think there's like so many different theories, and actually I've been listening to a UFO centric podcast lately.
Oh, nice.
Well, they do during the summer. They talk about UFOs specifically. It's a paranormal podcast. They talk about that during the summer specifically.
Yeah.
If you're into that stuff, you should listen to Bigfoot Collectors Club. It's a delight. But it is interesting, and sometimes they come up with theories, or their guests will come on with a theory or whatever, and it's interesting because there's theories like, okay, so there's like the classic alien theory or the Greys theory, right?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But then there's also things that like aliens could exist with us right now, but on a different dimension that our brains can't process because we're here living in this dimension. And they might be at like the 5th, 6th, 7th, or, you know, whatever dimensions.
Yeah.
So they could be literally next to us right now, but we don't know because we can't perceive or see them because our brains are not capable of that. We haven't like reached that status yet. And then there's some that, they can come visit and then they leave, or, you know, they do their thing or whatever, or their experiments, or, you know, whatever the case may be. Also, there's not going to be just one.
Yeah.
The Dimensions one is the one that I've been thinking the most about though lately, because that one's just very interesting because that means that they're like on this like psychic level of existence that we don't understand. So like their brains are so powerful
Yeah.
that they're beyond, you know, what we can comprehend at this point in time, which is just interesting. And I don't know, it's interesting to think about. I, for some reason, do feel like it's not going to be a threat.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot calmer as an adult about it than I was as a
Right.
terrified child. I mean, who's to say? Who knows? But I don't think we're going to have like a Independence Day moment happen.
I've never actually seen Independence Day. Worth a watch?
If you
Maybe
like
not now.
action movies
Okay.
and Will Smith,
I don't know if that was. I don't dislike him, but he's never like someone I'm like, yeah, I want to watch a movie because he's in it.
he's a good actor. I will
He
say
is.
that.
Oh, for sure.
He is good in that movie. I'm not a big action movie person, but I mean, it's been so long since I've seen it, but I enjoyed it at one point. I know that. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
But it is interesting. All this stuff is interesting to kind of think about. And I take it all with a grain of salt, but I do think it's interesting to listen to theories. I know they're supposed to be like releasing some stuff. The government's supposedly going to be releasing stuff. I don't think it's happened yet. Maybe it has by the time this comes out because it's supposed to be right around now.
Yeah.
Some declassified, well, formerly classified information, declassified, which could be interesting. I know Tom DeLonge of Blink-182 is big into that. So, because he has, what is it called? The Star something Academy.
Okay.
It might be the Starfleet Academy, but that also might be a Star Trek reference, and I can't remember.
Yeah, we are not a Star Trek or Star Wars podcast.
No, I've watched both, but I cannot get.
I don't think I've ever seen
jargon.
anything Star Trek related.
Oh, it was a big Star Trek house at my house.
I feel like that's the better one of the two.
I think it matters what you're geared more towards, because I'd say like if you're more of if you want more action and kind of like, then Star Wars is going to have a lot more action because it's like literally called Star Wars.
And it's more of a movie too, like because Star Trek's a TV show. Like there's been movies, but like
Star Trek does, because it's a TV show though too. It goes more in depth with characters, obviously, and some really badass characters like Janeway.
Oh, for sure. That's like that's kind of the reason why I want to start it, is because it was such a groundbreaking show, and all happened because of Lucille Ball. Did you know that?
That sounds familiar, but I don't know why.
Because
I feel like maybe
Desilu Studios were the ones who picked up Star Trek, and like she. Like, after I Love Lucy, she went on to be a bad bitch in the TV industry.
Yeah,
like, she kind of like, I'm pretty sure she was one of the first female executives in like the film and TV industry. I remember reading
adore that.
Yeah,
I absolutely adore that.
I'm so excited about the biopic they're making of her. I think is it Nicole Kidman?
I don't know.
I'm gonna just real quick.
Yeah, go ahead and look it up really quick. No, but she's an amazing woman, and the world was lucky to have her.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, Nicole
Kidman.
Oh, okay, it is.
With Javier Bardem playing Desi. Love that.
But Star Trek made some like really big, bold decisions early on in their programming that I think is really cool. They did a lot of historical moments on TV.
Yeah.
Which I think is great, and like a lot of really awesome character choices. And
George Takei is a treasure.
I love George Takei. I've only seen the original series like in clips and stuff, maybe here or there. But my mom was big into Star Trek, so it was on in my household growing on a lot. But that was Next Generation years and into like Deep Space Nine and I think Voyager, maybe. I don't remember what year that came out. But so I've seen them. I've seen some of the movies for sure. But it's one of those things I'm interested in to a little bit, but I don't seek out myself, if that makes sense.
Exactly. That's why I'm with Doctor Who.
But well, no, I did watch the one Doctor.
Which
Matt Smith.
Oh, gotcha.
I loved Matt Smith. And then right after that, it was the Scottish guy, and he was great, but he wasn't funny. And I liked Matt Smith because he was kind of the goofy, funny doctor, and like it was cheesy, and I loved it. And then the Scottish guy, I forget his name, but he was very serious. Yeah, as a doctor,
very different vibe.
Yeah, I know I have to go watch the David Tennant.
Yeah,
ones.
I'm not forcing you to.
I've heard I should. Somebody told me to start there. Somebody else told me to start with Matt Smith. I think I probably should have started with
Tennant.
Mm-hmm.
I do like David. I like both of them.
Mm-hmm.
I started watching Good Omens that David Tennant's in. He plays the devil, or like not the devil, one of the demons.
Yeah. Yeah. I got into him actually because he was in Jessica Jones, and I loved the first season of Jessica Jones was so good. And he plays, honestly, in my opinion, one of the worst villains ever in all comic books.
Okay.
And I will stand by that because he has the power of mind control.
That's a bad bitch power.
It's a terrifying power.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Because it doesn't matter what the other person has. He can use their power by channeling through them and making them do whatever.
Right.
And that's terrifying. So like
he can literally weaponize any other person.
And he can also like, well, he can make people fall in love with them.
Yeah.
So like that's terrifying too, because that should be a genuine thing, not a, whatever thing. And he was terrifying. And he was great though.
Love it.
He's the Purple Man.
Ooh, okay.
For any comic book people out there who have not watched the series. Also, fun fact, only comic book series I own, Jessica Jones.
Love that.
Yeah, I read them.
Every once in a while I can get into comic book series. It's pretty rare though.
Again, it's one of those things that's not my main go-to. Yeah. And it's a very expensive hobby. So like that's another reason I'm like not pushing myself to. I have read a few here and there. Like I said, the only ones I own are those ones, but I think it's interesting. I think it's a really beautiful art form.
Oh, for sure.
And a really great storytelling tool. So I'm interested in it, but from like a observer perspective, generally speaking.
For sure.
I have had fun at Comic Cons though. I've been to 2.
Okay. Never been to a Comic Con, but I've been to like an anime and manga con because they used to have one at Grand Valley.
Okay. So I have a feeling they're not that far off. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I went to them just to kind of see,
they're just fun
what
to
it's
go
like. And it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed myself both times.
Yeah.
And then one time I met, what is his name? He's an actor. He plays Mark in Empire Records. I know that movie's old for you.
Oh, I own that movie. I never watched it yet.
Oh, I love Empire Records. He's also in Grace and Frankie. And Ethan Embry. I met Ethan Embry. He was delightful.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. He was very nice. He did remove a piece of hair from my friend's face.
That was nice of him.
Mm-hmm. But yes, Comic Cons.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't know that I would go every time, but I would go again.
I would be down to go to one.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was a really fun, very large tangent, but I really enjoyed talking about aliens because it has been on my brain.
Good.
Which is probably why I made a comment in the first place, subconsciously. But would you feel all right about playing a game?
Absolutely.
Okay, good, because it's about cannibals.
Love it.
So we're going to do a 2 truths and a lie. 2 of these situations are actual situations where cannibalism happened. One of them is not.
Okay.
1. During the Great Gale Storm of 1871, a man was sailing with his family from the Netherlands. After being stranded for months, he returned alone.
Ooh.
Number 2. In 1874, a man led 5 men into the San Juan Mountains and came back alone after having survived a snowstorm, but also having had consumed them.
Damn.
Number 3. After a ship sailing from France to Senegal ran aground in 1816, due to there not being enough lifeboats aboard for the 400 passengers and crew.
Ooh. I'm going to go with number 1 being the lie.
You are correct. That is a dang lie.
I don't know what about it. It was just like his family. I think they'd be like a little cold, especially the father, Oh,
dang
the one who makes it out.
You're
like,
right. I shouldn't have made it family. Because I made that whole thing up. However, there was a Great Gale Storm of 1871.
Okay.
I went to the lengths of looking that up.
Nice.
So the other 2 are true. So in 1874, Alfred Packer, a wilderness guide, led 5 men into the San Juan Mountains in Colorado. And this was in February in search for gold.
Mm-hmm.
Months later, he returned alone. What actually happened was only known to Packer. But as his story went, the party got lost in a snowstorm. This didn't seem true, though, as he was carrying the belongings of multiple men when he came back. After further questioning, he changed his story. His party died along the trail, and they were forced one by one into cannibalism.
Oh, God.
When hikers traveled the path, 5 bodies were discovered near the same camp.
Nibbles taken out of them?
Yes, but they were also at the same camp. So he said they died along the way, like they kept going.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't all be
collected together.
Yeah. Parker was confronted and his story changed again when he claimed that one of the travelers, Shannon Bell, had gone mad and killed the other men with a hatchet. So he shot Shannon in defense. He then consumed their flesh for survival. He was eventually convicted of manslaughter. The pass where they died is now called the Cannibal Plateau.
Fitting.
Mm-hmm. So the next one is in early 1816, the Medusa sailed south to Africa from France to take control of newly acquired Senegal after the Napoleonic Wars. 50 miles offshore, the ship ran aground. There wasn't enough lifeboats, though, for the 400 passengers and crew to save everyone. 147 passengers who couldn't fit into the lifeboats crowded together on a makeshift raft, while others remained behind on the ship. At first, the raft was towed by some of the lifeboats, but then someone decided to cut the ropes. The raft drifted aimlessly for 13 days. People died from murder, being washed overboard, and starvation. Eventually, those living turned to cannibalism as well as drank their own urine. By the time the raft was discovered, only 15 of 147 people remained.
Ugh.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, I got a couple others.
Of course.
So some of these are a little more known, but we'll just do a little snippet of it. So the settlers of Jamestown. Founded in 1607, the first year was rough for the 104 English settlers. Only 38 would make it through the winter due to disease, drought, and terrible farming conditions. Things got worse when 300 new settlers arrived, followed by a very harsh winter in 1609. Some people began to eat their own boots even, while others chose to eat their neighbors.
Damn.
And I do have a quote, "Nothing was spared to maintain life and to do those things which seem incredible as to dig up dead corpse out of a grave to eat them," wrote Percy, one of the settlers.
Damn.
He goes on to say, quote, "And some have licked up the blood which hath fallen from their weak fellows."
Huh.
In 2012, archaeologists discovered the bones of a 14-year-old girl, her skull cracked open to remove the brain, evidence she had probably
been cannibalized.
Yeah. 17th century medicine. This is kind of more of a general one, but it actually wasn't uncommon to consume powdered mummies and other body parts as medicine.
Weird.
Yeah. It was tough to stop internal bleeding and blood clots and menstrual issues. Headaches and other ailments were prescribed to ingest a tincture of crushed skulls. Smithsonian Magazine states that, quote, "In the 16th and 17th centuries, many Europeans, including royalty, priests, and scientists, routinely ingested remedies containing human bodies, blood, and fat as medicine for everything from headaches to epilepsy."
Thank fucking God for the FDA.
I know. It's so disturbing.
They're not great, but they're not feeding us humans.
And then last but not least, and I'm not going to go too far into this because I know that, but do you have an idea of what I have to mention?
Donner Party?
Yeah, the Donner Party. So really quick, the Donner Party, if you don't know, you probably at least heard the name, but if you don't know out there, in the winter of 1846 and 1847, there was massive snowfall in the Sierra Nevada mountains and about 25 feet of accumulation. So shit ton of snow.
Yeah.
When the pioneers of the Donner Party, who had started their journey late, lost valuable time by taking a never traveled shortcut, they became trapped in the woods northwest of Lake Tahoe. They set up camp to wait it out. And so basically, long story short, there was some trying to get out of this. I'm not going to go too far into it because there's tons of podcasts and tons of like things you can watch out there. And I'm sure many people have heard of it. But they did have to resort to cannibalism in order to stay alive. So stay on the right route, especially when you're a pioneer.
Right.
And there is now an area called Donner Pass in the mountains.
Spooky.
Yeah.
On that note.
Yes.
I think we are wrapped like a human burrito.
Oh, I forgot to say my source, though. It was Mental Floss, of course.
Of course. Show favorite.
Yeah. A lot of articles about cannibalism on there, oddly enough.
Interesting.
But now we are wrapped.
Yes. So if you want to follow us on our social medias, it's at Detroit Strange on Instagram and Twitter, Detroit Strange on Facebook, and our email address is detroitstrange@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm. And if you would like to support the show, we've got some merch over at Threadless. Just look up Detroit Strange. You can go to Patreon, also Detroit Strange. And, you know, you can also leave us a 5-star review on Apple. And if you do, I think we're gonna be reading them. So please do.
Yeah, do it.
And other than that, I think until next time,
stay strange.
This has been a production of Planet Ant Podcast, powered by Pinecast. Our theme song was recorded by Detroit's own Stacks and Violence.